So I'm here trying to take my mind off of things, doing my to-do list for tomorrow, paperwork for landlord, bank statements, IDs, stop at the emergency room, more testing, but I'm not able to continue. My upper arm muscle, up, um, up here, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's like spasming. It's not doing what I tell it. Please ignore any other noises in the background. This is a private video. Sometimes I have company also that is worried about me. I got the cat here. My roommate's in the room. Sorry for any noises in the background. My cat meows. My roommate hums, things like that. But as long as they don't talk. Oh God, I'm nauseous. Trying to hold back my stomach. I can't take any more Zofran. I'm petting the cat. He's cute. I'm writing my list, but my arm isn't doing that well. As I was petting the cat, I was doing all right. As I got three things down on the second list, yeah, I couldn't write, and my arm is spasming. My stomach is nauseous, and this is with me with lights out, not being strenuous. If I was trying to walk, my stomach would get worse, and my arm would spasm, my legs would spasm, and my back would get shocked even worse. Right now, my back isn't that bad. The Triliptal I already took. I took 8 milligrams of buprenorphine, and that's all I'll be taking for the entire day. And that was hours ago, so whatever. I'm gonna be on a half of that pretty soon too. I don't like taking any painkillers. I can't take Tylenol because of the stomach issues, thanks to my mother and father. I can't take Tylenol without being in the fucking bathroom or a trash can for at least 6 hours, dry heaving and vomiting. I can't take ibuprofen without stomach pain. Feels like sharp nails are in my stomach. If I take any opiates, there's chances of addiction. Plus, we don't know what neurological damage my mother did, because there's definitely an overdose involved and lots of drugs. So we got to get to the bottom of that before any serious controlled substances should be administered. I'm just fucked. Painkillers, not for me. I can take CBD, weed, certain types of weed too, only. And it's been months and months. I've been using a lot of these CBD products. CBN, I just got a vape because somebody lent me at $20 to get CBD, and it's all I could afford for 20 or less. But it was a CBN vape, what was affordable. And I have a big jar because I made my own CBD V cream sorry, my stomach, that works great on the nervous system. That's 40% argan oil, 40% jojoba oil. Oh God, my stomach. 10% of what I use the jar for. It's right here. That's a vitamin E with coconut oil. And then the rest active ingredients, so about 5% CBDV and about a 5% regular CBD full spectrum that contains CBN, CBG, just the full spectrum of CBDs. So a regular just mixed CBD and then a CBDV isolate. What I've linked to my channels that can help many people who have epilepsy. CBDV, if you go to Biopharma Industries, they have a very high quality version of it. They're using it to make pharmaceuticals now for epilepsy, but if you don't buy from Biopharma Industries, you're not going to get a good price and you're going to get ripped off. Take this from a guy who's lost $1,000 trying to just buy his medicine without getting ripped off. The market is full of rip-off artists. There's Viagra sold as supplements. There is fake supplements. There are fake ginseng, fake melatonin, and there's fake CBD. And it's mostly sold at the big name stores like Walmart and Walgreens is where you'll see most of the fake stuff. You got to go right to the people who grow it or the pharmaceutical industries that sell it to these other companies. So you want to go to either Gilded will give you CBD because they have 3 different partners, or one of the Gilded's partners, the one I use, would be Biopharma Industries. God, my stomach, I could use some I could use a CBD capsule if I wasn't so poor. I have none. That settles your stomach really well. Dried. If you get the real stuff, not that fake shit. The fake shit doesn't do nothing. Took me years to figure out that most of the stores are selling fake products. Most of the supplements don't do what they say, not because it's hocus pocus, it's because it's fake. If you buy real ginseng, it does something. If you buy real bay leaves, it does something. If you buy sassafras root, it does something. If you buy cinnamon and cloves, it does something. If you buy hemp that has high levels of CBDV and CBN and CBD in it, it's going to do something. But if you're buying stuff from Walgreens where they just put it on the label and yet it doesn't have nothing in it but some fake low testing bullshit and it doesn't work, don't be surprised. And don't blame the plant itself. Don't go, oh, all those plants are hocus pocus. No, the plants work. Most pharmaceuticals are made from plants. What do you think penicillin is made from, huh? You think it's made from ass crack juice put in a lab tube? No. Oh god, my stomach. It's penicillin mold that's been put through a lab process and then concentrated. Supplements are no different. They're concentrated versions of plants. When you buy CBD, they're just distilling the oil out of the hemp plant and concentrating different parts of the oil in the plant. When you buy a lot of these products, it's just concentrated plant matter. Oh god, my left arm is... I'm going to stop this video because I'm having a lot of arm spasms, what's unusual for me. It's usually in the back, legs, and neck. The upper arms occasionally, I get cramps in the stomach. This has been going on for 25 years since childhood. I've been telling my parents about it, doctors about it, staff members about it, teachers have been talking about it. People mentioned how my mother was crazy. I mentioned how my mother was doing weird things to me. Still nothing has been done to help me. I'm still not getting any help with my conditions. But that will happen when people try to cover up the crimes they commit. Yes, my father's keeping secrets. My mother died from drinking alcohol with liver failure and popping pills. My father kept that secret. And on top of this, he kept what my mother was doing to me a secret. And on top of this, he lies and manipulates anytime anybody comes knocking, asking questions. If you go asking my father questions, now I can give you a list of tough questions that he will not have honest answers to. He'll either have to give you an honest answer and admit that he did something wrong, or he'll just dodge the question and come up with a bullshit dodge answer. Like, he's making up a fantasy, it's all made up. I don't know what he's talking about, but it's made up. Talk to my lawyers. That's probably what you'll get if you hit that nerve. If you ask the questions I have to ask. If you had my childhood in my life and you just ask about it, if you ask about the pictures, if you ask about New Mexico, if you ask about the overdose, if you ask about me bringing up the overdose in the doctor's office, if you ask about the ballet, if you ask about my stomach issues, if you ask about my vomiting at 16, if you ask about the programs, if you ask about the medications, if you ask about my disability, if you ask the questions about my Social Security, if you ask any of these Social Security questions, health questions, childhood questions, roof over my head questions, what I was getting fed in New Mexico, did I get food poisoning, did I ever get sick in New Mexico, if you ask these type of questions, my father will not have honest answers for them. Because the honest answer is my son was poisoned by a big black man. My son was poisoned by my wife and we never brought him to the hospital. My son brought this up at the doctor's office in front of me, but I thought my wife was telling me the truth when it was just an allergy attack. I thought when my son kept on bringing this up, scared looking, had bumping in the furniture, that my wife was telling me the truth. When my son was bumping in the furniture and had cuts and scrapes all over his shins and still to this day on his wrist from bumping in the doorknobs, bumping in the tables, bumping in the door frames, bumping in the bed frames, when people constantly say, Zach, why are you bumping into so many stuff in your lifetime? What does my father say? He doesn't know what's going on. What do I say? I'm just bumping in the furniture. I don't know why that happens. I can't control my movements. My leg bounces out of control. You know that too. You know I have tics. I told you about that at the doctor's. I've told you everything I know. But then my mother tries to come up with a fake mental illness. No, his legs bumping in the furniture, that's a self-harming thing. He's doing it on purpose. He's trying to hurt himself by bumping in the furniture and bed frames and door frames, and his wrist bumping into doorknobs when he walks by. That's all done on purpose. He's self-harming. It's part of his mental illness. We need to give him more pills. We need to give him more pills. That's what my mother said. My father goes and says, I'm not so sure about that. Yes, it is. Don't argue with me. Yes, it is. And then she walks away, and that's the end of it. So what did I get for care for bumping in the furniture at the age of 15, at the age of 12, at the age of 7, at the age of 20, at the age of 19, at the age of 16, at the age of 31? What type of treatments did I get for this neurological disorder? Oh, that's right. My mother gave me more drugs, hit me with a ruler across the face, and tried to send me as far away as possible and make sure there was as little supervision on my mental illnesses or physical illnesses as possible. And then my mother would try to create mental illnesses and draw attention to those. So she's trying to take away any real attention to my real illnesses, and then she's trying to add fake mental illnesses and have everybody pay attention to that. Even when my mother is popping Vicodin in her closet that are prescribed to her son and get caught red-handed doing it, what did she do? She punished her son for seeing it. Yes, it wasn't her fault for stealing her son's medications. It wasn't her fault for popping Vicodin she didn't need and mixing it with alcohol. No, she told her husband it was only one time and it's okay. And it's all Zach's fault for seeing it. And so then I was punished for seeing my mother steal my Vicodin that I was prescribed because I was being over-medicated, and I was rushed to the emergency room with severe headaches that felt like, oh my God, I felt like I was going to die. I was puking this, and God, I'm on Vicodin for it, and my mother wants to take it to her closet and start popping them. And somehow, I'm in trouble for overseeing my mother doing this. It wasn't like I tried to catch her or anything, no. I saw my meds go missing. I asked for one because of a headache, and I noticed half the bottle was missing when my mother gave it to me. So then I checked on my bottle, and more were missing. So at that point, all I did was I asked permission to watch TV, and I wanted to know what was going on with my bottle. My mother took my bottle and started taking the pills right in front of me, and I oversaw this, which I said to my mother, "Don't take my pills. What are you doing taking my pills?" And then I told my father, which at that time I got punished because I saw my mother do something wrong. That's my fault. I shouldn't have eyeballs to see. I shouldn't be watching TV with permission. I mean, it's not my fault that she did that in front of me. I didn't ask her to steal my pills. I didn't ask her to do any of that. She could have walked in there. She could have got her own prescription from a doctor. She doesn't need my prescription. Go ask your doctor for Vicodin if you need it so bad. Why do you need your son's Vicodin? Why is your son on Vicodin? Why are you wanting so many controlled substances and drugs to be put into your son? Why is that? Why is your son shaking, bumping in the furniture? Why is all this? What was going on in Westford before you moved to Texas? What was going on there? These are the questions you should ask my father and see what type of answers he has, because he does not have answers. He'll say it's a fantasy, he'll say it's made up, it's some mental illness, and that he doesn't want to talk about it. You can talk to his lawyers, or you can catch him on some beach or cruise somewhere in another country. That's what he'll say. Meanwhile, I die in the woods, freeze to death, and the hospitals bring me back to life again. This is my life, thanks to my father and mother. Now, what do I do for a living? I just am a gas station attendant, but I get injured in the process, so I have no living. I tried to do manual labor. I love working. No matter what, eventually I will be going back to work. I just have to be able to walk to work. I need not walk to work. I need to be able to stand up for at least an hour without needing an ambulance. I need to make sure that I can be at work without needing an ambulance. I need to make sure I don't die or have any permanent injuries at work. Once when that is accomplished, then I will be going back to a gas station work and running a company on my own. I do very well at that. But the standing up and having seizures, having GI kidneys, having allergies, runny nose, mold problems at home, not being able to have my disabilities treated, not being able to get medical care, not being able to collect my Social Security, not being able to use my human rights or benefits, not being able to work, not being able to drive, not being able to go out in the cold, not being able to use a shelter. All these things are big setbacks that my father and mother created, not me. And get these things fixed, it requires fixing my mother's and father's mistakes. You can't go around that. I've tried. I've tried to clean up my father's and mother's mess on my own. I've tried to go around my mother's and father's messes. I've tried to go around the abuse, the medications. I've tried to do everything I could to get to the doctors, get the doctors to do their jobs, get an income so I can pay my regular bills. But no matter what I do, I get hit with a bag of rocks from my father. Here, try a seizure on the way to work. Here, try a bunch of bleeding head injuries. Here, try not driving. Here, try falling in the middle of the cold. Here, try COVID, getting sick, not being able to get medical care, having a seizure on the side of the road, having 3 infections,